Hello and welcome on this channel. My name is Igor. This channel is about test automation. Because of today's video is leaving a comment on pull request after test execution. In order to accomplish our mission, we need some tools. First of all, it's Playwright. That's a tool which helps us to write automation tests. Next one is a repository on GitHub. Today's video is GitHub's topic, so we will use it. Next one, we will need NVM version installed locally. We also will need a Git for version control, and also we will need knowledge of JQ. JQ is lightweight command line JSON parser, which we are going to use in Bash. But let's begin with first step. We need to create our new repository just from scratch. Let's call it Playwright Reporter. Nice, and visibility, let it be private, or anyway it could be public. Great. Right, next we need to fetch our repository for local usage. Right now I'm using Visual Studio Code for that, and we just copy URL and we can open our folder, we can open our terminal and just git clone and pass to our repository. To clone an empty repository. This is fine. Let's open the folder. It should be Playwright Reporter. It's there. Let's just open it. This is totally fine. Yes, trust the authors. Next we need to install the Playwright, assuming that you already have npm installed, or you can use yarn, and just simple command. We're going to grab it and open again new terminal, and let's just paste. I'll make a screen big enough so you can see. We will put test under test folder. We need GitHub Actions workflow. We also need to install browsers, and we are good to go. Meanwhile it's installing, let's have a look on one more pull request action. So in order to leave feedback or comment on our pull request, we will need to use third-party solution. It's Peter Evans create or update comment. It's quite easy and just generally easy to use. Let's get back to it. It's still installing. This is fine, and we already see Playwright config, and we will need to adjust it a little bit. So in order to publish test results, we need to get the result, and to get the result we will need to parse our reporters, and for that we are going to use JSON style reporter. So we are going to add additional options here. It will be named JSON, and we need to provide a path to our for our file, and let's say it will be, for example, I don't know, test JSON. Let it be test results.json. Okay, tests are installed. Let's run it, and let's run it. Right, we have small issue with it. This is totally fine because format of my config file is wrong. Yes. No, I don't want to restart, and let's run again. We will use just default tests. We are good for now, because our mission is to see how actually we can see test results on pull request. Let's wait a little bit, and test results are ready. We can see Playwright report folder, and also we expected to have actually test result .json file, and because I put a wrong format, it should be output file. It should be passed as and with a key. Let's see which option we have. Output file, something like that. Let's run again. Now we should be able to see it, but not yet. Why is it so? Let me take a deeper look. Test results, and it's not even there. Last run, it's passed, but I don't see actually. Interesting. Let's have another look on our JSON output file reporter. It's totally fine, and maybe it was not saved. Let's just check again. Output file. It should be like that. It should be like that. Oh, because I have a speller mistake. Okay, and it just didn't tell me that this option is wrong, but okay. Anyway, it's there, test result JSON. That's format which we will need to use, and we are interested in last part, which called stats. And yes, stats, that's what we are going to use. Next, let's adjust our GitHub action. We have predefined action, which is totally fine. We just need to make a couple of adjustments. First of all, let's edit it and let's have action this only on pull request. We don't need it on push, only pull request for branch main. Right, next we need to adjust permissions. So we will need actually one change for, let's have a key permissions, and we need to set pull request. Pull request needs to have write, and it should be pull requests, and actually contents should be read. Right. Mostly we are good with it. Next we need to extract our summary. Extract summary. Let's call this step as this, extract summary, and we'll provide ID which we are going to use later. Summary, and run itself. Let's see. As I mentioned previously, we are going to use JQ for parsing our JSON. Let me show you how actually it works. Let's open browser and let's open our GQ. We can try online, and let's say we have a JSON here, and we want to have stats. So you can find keys. In our case it will be stats. Inside the keys you can have, for example, expected tests. So expected tests is basically a past test. Next, what else? We have skip test, and we have unexpected. That's failed test. Unexpected, also 0. So using these three variables we can build our test results. Let's get back to our code, and again we are going to use bash for that. It's already predefined by default for our GitHub Actions, and we are going to call GQ command line command for our stats, and then we are going to use expected, and we also need to set from which file. In our case it was test results .json. Alright. Nice. Oh, we have some kind of error, but that's because key is missing, and we also need to have it with correct spacing, Past is ready. Next we need to have failed, that's unexpected, and skipped, that's actually skipped. Next let's write just beautiful message, and it will be like summary equals, we can use some emoji. Let me see if I can find something useful and interesting. Maybe done, why not? Yes, so let's have past, next stop, for example, stop we are going to use for failed, right? And also we need one more yellow, failed, and for skipped we are going to use yellow color, something like that. We need to write this into a variable which is GitHub output, right? And that's actually almost done. Next we need to reuse this third-party solution, and we can have just copy and paste, just spacing should be fine. Next we need to adjust these guys, right? Issue number, so we need to actually correct issue number. Issue number is pull request number, and in our case we are going to fetch this data from GitHub itself. We are going to use GitHub dot event dot number pull. No, we need pull request number. Fine. We are almost there. Next we need to provide some beautiful body, and for now let's just write Playwright test results, and we are going to reuse our variable from previous step, and we need to say steps dot summary dot steps dot summary outputs dot summary. It should be it. Next we don't need any reactions or something like that, and we should be almost good to go. Let me quickly see if I forgot something. Not really. As you can see, this message is highly customizable, and you can play around and make it as you want. And for now we are going to stop like that. And what else? Let's see. We have everything else in place. Let's commit our changes. Git add all files, and probably we don't need to commit our JSON. And let's check git status and delete it. Alright, let's git. Right now we are going to commit these changes. Git commit means rm skeleton and git push origin main. Right, let's check out if our code is in place. It is. Now let's create a different branch, and so we can, for example, create new branch, pull request check, and we are going to have some changes. We just need to remove some lines, for example, and commit them. Check results, some dummy commit message, and again we need to push our changes, pull request check, and we are going to actually use command line as I have already password in place. Nice. Next we will see our new branch. Let's create a pull request, check results, create pull request, and let's just see if we can get results instantly. We are waiting for our action. Let's see. If it's going to happen from first run, I will be super happy. But as you know, it's pretty hard to make it from first run. Anyway, it's not that difficult, and it should be it. It takes some time to install the browser. Instead we could use just Docker. It's also available in my previous videos, you can take a look. But for now, installing browsers just take some time. We are running browser and we have a failure, which is totally fine, which says that GS, of course, not a GS but JQ, right? That's a good spot. And let's have fixing command name, and let's push again. Yes, it could happen. It could happen. And actually, if you have JQ installed locally, yes, I do have. It should be pre-installed, if I'm not wrong. But actually, if you run test locally, let's run it. You can play around locally as well. Let's see if we have new action here running. Yes. Meanwhile, let me show you how you can play around with JQ. You just can copy what you are doing on CI, because you should get same test. Alright, as you can see, we are having tests, another error. So it's tests, but in our config it's test. So we fixed another error, and let's commit it right away. Fixing report name. So we already know that our second run going to fail as well, and let's just push the fix. Pushed, and let's have a look on what we have here. We have failed run, which is expected, and we are waiting for another one. Let's get back to our code, and actually let's try to run the test, and let's see if we can use JQ locally. Test started. Meanwhile, let's have a look on our check results. So we are expecting to have comment here which says that test results, how many of them have failed, how many of them have skipped, and successful one. You can also go further and enrich the message. You can write down which tests are exactly failed, and if it's interesting for you, I can give another shot on how to write rich message, but it shouldn't be a big deal actually. And if we are going back to our running code, I hope it's still running. Okay, let's switch to Visual Studio and let's check. We have new tests result. And as you can see, we can now successfully use JQ for parsing some data from the file. So it's good to play around locally before you are running it on CI to reduce failures. And unfortunately, we are still waiting. In order to avoid waiting time, as I mentioned previously, you can use Docker, which is available in Playwright using Docker integration. And yes, Playwright is pretty handful, which provides default Docker container. Here's an example. You can just specify container and you can have an image with latest version on it, and that's it. You don't need to install browser actually, which reduces execution time for you, which always should be a good option. Alright, it's green. Let's get back to our pull request. Check results, and we see an empty message, which means that we did something wrong. And let's review what actually went wrong with our code. Let's get back to the code and review our workflow again. So actually we are using steps, summary, output, summary, which means we are using this variable, and we need to write it to GitHub output. Alright, it's missing $sign. That's where problem is. Alright, let's commit it again, and I hope this time we will get fix GitHub name, and let's just push it again, and I hope this time, again, we didn't get any error, right? So that's unfortunate, because to be honest, it should fail, and it should suggest me that I'm using it wrongly, but it is what it is. If you are using Playwright with GitHub Actions with browser installation, you are losing around 2 minutes every time when you run it on CI. So that's a good point to reduce the time. And let's see our pull request. I hope this time we have zero issue. And yes, as you can see, we have correct results except for failed one, and we can see what's wrong there, because it's not fails but failed, and now it should be correct. And let me commit fixing failed name, and let me push our results. So let's wait a little bit and verify that we have correct results. As I mentioned previously, you can edit, adjust message as you wish. If you want to see how we can expand the data and how we can write failed tests here, just let me know, I'll make another video. Also, I want to point out one more thing. Right now we are running tests only with one parallel worker, which could be easily changed, and you can use shards with Playwright, which meaning running many tests in the same time. But with shards you need to combine test results, and it's not an option to use in the same step as we did here. So for shards you need to change the logic, and you need to combine JSON results with blobs in order to provide correct summary. So if you're developers wondering how to find test results and you're using Playwright or any other test framework, do not hesitate to just publish message on your pull requests.